Hey everyone, Angie with Amega Star. Today's video, I have some really exciting news. Amega Star's program is in a growth and expansion phase, and because of that, I need some assistance. And I have an individual that I've been working with over the last couple years that is now going to come on board and help me through this new growth phase. So I would like to introduce you, Micah. If you followed me in the past, you've seen us on other platforms and avenues together, and we are really excited to be back together, partnered again, and moving forward.
Yeah, I'm very excited. We got to work on some projects in the past, and had some things that just didn't quite work out. But yeah, we're back together, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited. Angie, I really enjoy her passion for what she does, and so it's really going to be a lot of fun, I think, to work together. And you're a very busy person.
I am busy.
And so so I'm just excited to come along and help out where I can, and just help be an advocate for what the program is about, and just bring a lot of attention to what Angie's doing, and our breeders and the puppies and so forth that we get to work with every day. It's a lot of fun. So
Micah has an incredible vision, and he keeps me on track. He brings me back in, reels me in, and sets me forward.
So I think for the rest of the video, and the rest of the video here, I'm going to be interviewing Angie a little bit, helping bringing some exposure to the program, and talk a little bit about the past, what we're currently doing, and some exciting things that we have planned for the future, hopefully. So part of this is going to be also keeping Angie accountable to some of the goals that we've talked about. Maybe putting it out there in the universe is going to help her, those things come to light. So it'll keep us both on track for what we want to do. It's amazing. So So off the bat, Angie, where did your passion for raising puppies and stuff like that come from? I always I have you saved in my phone as Angie the Bernedoodle Mama.
That's funny.
I've always kind of seen Angie that as like the crazy dog mom, and you just have a passion for what you do. Where did that kind of come from?
You're digging deep.
Yeah.
So I would probably say it started when I was a young girl. We obviously live in the country, and we have farmers markets and things like that. And I spent a lot of time on the weekends with my father. He would take me out and about, and we used to go to the auctions. And there were always, like puppies available, free puppies, always, usually. And we'd look at all of them, and he never stopped me from taking one home. So he did have a limit. Now that I'm an adult, I don't have a limit, right? But he had a limit. And so I would often have random dogs. And my grandfather was a farmer, so I was raised kind of on the farm, the back end of it. I milked cows, strode in 4-H, just had a really, really strong passion for animals. And life has different paths. Ended up in design and furniture and all of that, because that was a family business, and came back around in my, mid-40s, and started to pursue something that was really at the heart. And I decided when I started or thought about starting to raise puppies, I wanted to do it differently. And I knew there was a different way. And then I also...
when did you raise your first litter? Do you remember?
About 5.5 years ago.
Okay.
So I planned for about 1.5 years before I actually got my first girls, because I was cautious.
She's always a planner, likes to have the foundation. Everything has got to be perfect.
It has to be perfectly laid out.
And I'm pushed her to hey, it doesn't have to be perfect. We can work our way through it. And, that is.
Mike is excellent in that area, because I don't like to take the jump until I have it all figured out, and I don't have it all figured out.
Balance.
It is a good balance. And so I studied a lot and knew that I could do things differently, and believed in preliminary health, and partnering it with raising children. We have my husband and I have 3 children. Our oldest is 21, the youngest is 16. How you set them up for success in life, and I homeschooled for many years. So how I taught them what I wanted to expose them to, I knew I could do the same thing with puppies. So I studied a lot of programs. There are a variety out there on the marketplace. And then just dug in. Imagine that. I just did it. Well, when you have a pairing and you have puppies, you got to get going. And so through the process, evolved things, changed things, and then really have a passion for development and the actual psychology of it.
Yeah.
And
you're always coming up. I mean, it's like we've had like hundreds of conversations. I've known you for a couple of years now, and every time it's like, Angie, that's a video. That's a video. So like, that's part of the goal of this channel, I think, too, is like, you know, some of those conversations, they're going to be made into videos, and we'll be able to share that with you folks out there. So I
just find those kind of things interesting, and probably if I could rewrite my past, I would go back into veterinary medicine. But I started out in pre-med because I was going to go into like human medicine, and then diverted completely because I wanted to get out of school. But I just knew there was a different way to do things. And so we're making a difference.
Good. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think the first time I was introduced to you, I think was your Cleo.
Yeah.
And that's why I had Bernedoodle Mama, because your first Cleo
first interaction.
Had Bernedoodles, and got introduced to you there through my cousin. So that's been a lot of fun, and we've
many years ago, right?
For sure.
Wow.
Yep.
Few more gray hairs on my head, not Micah's.
So I got my little cheat sheet here. I'm going to quick look down here. So I guess we've kind of talked about some of the history and so forth, but you know, as far as the Amega program itself, like where did you first notice the benefits of like the pre-training? You know, why did you like latch onto that piece and thought, man, this is something that I have to do myself, and like obviously share it with others, and just, you know, So these are really, really good questions. And you can probably tell that when Micah asked me to do this video, I said, well, I didn't have time to prepare. And so I told him we were just going to go with it. But my first inclination that something needed to be different was the very first litter I raised. And when you raise puppies, there's one thing that you better just be guaranteed you're going to take care of, and that is cleaning up poop. And I'll tell you what, you have a litter of puppies of 10, and there is a lot of it all of the time, everywhere, right? So I started to think to myself, amazing how much of our lives is controlled by sanitation.
Yes, it is, right? Like that's a lot of what you do as a breeder is take care of that. And I realized at that point that if I could train them at a very young age to eliminate a one spot, the goal at that point was really just to help me because the bathing was excessive. The smell was terrible. The environment was constant work every single minute, honestly. So I started researching, and I came across this program called the Misty Method. I don't know how to reference or other than just say that was the method. And it was really about creating space for sleep, play, and potty. So there's 3 things. And I was like, hey, if I could do that, that would be great. So we're talking the very beginnings, right? My husband went and cut 2x4s for me. I ordered newspaper paper on a roll, rolled it out. Now remember, beginning breeder. Rolled it out, stuck them in that space, and within about 15 minutes, I had potties in that area. Now there's 2 things wrong with that situation. One, you would never put treated lumber around puppies. You need to like have sanitary options. And 2, you don't put paper. So I had 2 messes right away. So we evolved that, changed that up, went to polywood, changed some things. But what I realized really early on is if I could teach them to do that, what else could I teach them? And so then I started to research. And then that's when I was like, I found all these ways of development and introduction, and then how to introduce certain toys before fear stage starts. And there's all, it's not really documented in any program or curriculum that you have to just read a lot and absorb, digest, and regurgitate. Like you just kind of have to.
And I think what's neat too, you'll come to me excited and you'll say, hey, I just had this conversation with this person. And most times it's someone like a vet. You told me you've talked to AKC representatives, American Kennel Club, even OFAs, like you've set up a few clinics now already with that. So it's not just Angie kind of pulling these things out of thin air or reading it or whatever. She's applying it. And you've talked to real people and had many conversations with real people, experts. And
really making a difference in our community is what I'm after. Like getting our dogs, our community up on knowledge, right? So So I think it's like sifting is how I feel. Like you have all this information out here and you have to send it through a sifter and then dial it down in some ways and then
What
be
applies
able
to our environment.
yeah, and
what
then
works
kind of
for
be
you.
able
Yeah,
to share it. And so a long time ago, I had an evaluation done, and one of the things that they said is that you should be an educator. And I was like, oh, not me. Like, I'm not an educator, right? Not a teacher. I'm not that. But I found that I actually look at raising children. I looked at it when I reflect back as what can I teach them? I can teach them a lot of things. I teach them the sky's the limit, really, is what I always tell my kids. The sky is the limit. Go for it. So it's the same thing with puppies.
Yeah.
What can I teach them? And then what can I teach our families?
Sure.
So I'm getting goosebumps, Micah. This
My
happens
secret
to
goal
me.
is to have Angie cry because it's.
She will.
She gets passionate.
She will cry, probably. I almost did earlier when you asked me at the beginning about how I got started. But yeah, I might get sidetracked. So keep me on target.
Good. That's perfect. So I think what I wanted to do is also, I've been observing what you've been doing. I think Amega started about 6 months ago, roughly, since we kind of started. I mean, there was a lot of building and planning kind of before that. But just wanted to quickly go over some statistics here. Currently, I would say we're working with over 20 breeders. Hundreds of dogs have graduated the program.
That's right.
And not all the breeders are, we have a few that are, we actually have a full-time trainer that is going around. She's been trained personally by Angie, and going around to a few breeders for whatever reason. Some of them own businesses, have full-time jobs, but want their puppies obviously to be the best. And so we have a full-time trainer that she is going around and training some of those litters. So it's probably about half and half as far as what breeders do it themselves under the program, and then we have the trainer that also assists some of that too. And then obviously we've put out a lot of videos, print materials that you've made available for breeders and for people that are getting a Amega trained puppy. And that booklet, I mean, that was always, when we used to work together at that past thing, I was always referencing that booklet. People always say, oh, that booklet's amazing. So there's definitely some valuable stuff that Amega is doing. So I just want to congratulate you.
That's a nice resource for families.
So
and
I
always tell families too. Sorry, Micah. I always tell them that it could have been 5 years ago that you raised a puppy. It could have been 10 years ago you raised a puppy. For me, I just like to have a resource, right? So I'm a planner, so I like to have something in the back pocket. So it's not that it is such a strong written material. I always tell my families it's to get you thinking. It's to create a pathway for you to maybe research options, like my puppy's nipping. Is this normal? Yes, it is. Try these. If that doesn't work, then you can go out and research your own and find your own ways. There are 100 ways to raise a puppy. But you know what? Dialing it down and putting it to a guidebook that I can just kind of refresh, and it will get me thinking again. And so that's why I wrote it. And it also, I don't like to repeat the same things. I don't like to do the same things over and over again. I'm a changer. And so for me, when I had the same conversations with families over and over and over and over again, I was like, I should just document it and save myself some time so I can do other things. And so that's really what it's done. And it's been a great resource.
Because there can be, there can be fears.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not used to animals or puppies, whatever. So I think, that's,
we're going to cover some of those together, actually.
Absolutely, yeah. So in the future, we're going to cover some of that.
Yeah.
And, neither one of us are like a professional. We're not a vet. We're not a,
not experts.
So a lot of it's just going to be more about education. That's going to maybe provide resources for you folks to go research further, talk to your vet, talk to your breeder, stuff like that. And Angie's, she has a lot more experience than she gives herself credit for, as far as, you've raised quite a few litters yourself, worked with breeders, like I said, hundreds of conversations with different people, breeders, other professionals that, there's a lot of wealth of knowledge here that I don't think she gives herself credit for. Well,
the one thing with working with animals is that the part that I love the most when you talk about passions is that it's ever changing. It's every day. I learn every single day, and I learn through experience, but I learn through others. And it's a really, really neat place, middle of age, where I'm at, to have a community of like-minded people all doing better and we do better through others.
Yep.
And it's just a really neat relationship. So.
And one of the questions we touched on a little bit, I was going to ask is who the Amega program is for, or what. So you mentioned, first-time dog owner, if you've a family that never had a dog, the puppy, the puppy is going to be more well socialized. I think it's just easier. It's going to be an easier process if you've never had a puppy. This puppy is going to be, easier trained. It's going to be social, not fearful. You get introduction to potty training, leash training. The program is based around a service dog curriculum. So that's another area of people that are looking for a therapy dog, service dog. This is a great start to that. Then you can take that puppy and then mold it, shape it into, if you're doing therapy work or service work, stuff like that. It's a great start for someone looking to do that. Even people that have had multiple dogs. It's just, it's going to be an easier introduction to your current dog or dogs, or just make your life easier.
Right.
Maybe you're older, you've had dogs in the past, but man, going through that puppy stage again is just a little bit of a fear. But this program is designed to help make that easier trained, quicker, and so forth. Things like that.
To ease the starts, and setting foundations for puppies that have been exposed to a lot of things. The most that we can expose in the development window under 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 8 to 10 weeks. But you said it very well.
Yeah. All right. So we've talked a lot about the past, how Amega got started. We've talked a little about what we're currently doing, and we've touched a little bit on the future. What goals do we have? But I think, so let's look toward the futures. I think I wrote down education is number one. Angie's always talking about education. So what that's going to look like. I think our goal is to put out, at least we're going to try a video a week covering the puppy pre-training, but then also other training tips and tricks. Angie's always got a tip of the day. Some of the things to help, health issues. We might do a little series on health issues. So like hernias, parasites, physical things, joints. I'm not sure what else, underbites, overbites.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of little things that, it's kind of, when you hear it, it's a little bit of a shock. You're not quite sure what to think if you've not gone through it before, heard these terms. So again, we're not here to diagnose or treat or, it's basically a starting point of education for you to take further with your vet or doing your own research, stuff like that. So, we're going to maybe cover some of those items. And then, I know Angie's mentioned it. We've been working on it a little bit. So we've done the pre-training, which is from 3-day birth, basically up until about 8 to 10 weeks. We've had people talk about extended training. What does that look like? So that could be a piece. If is that, I think that's. I didn't want to maybe throw it out there too prematurely, but again, that's kind of a goal, right? That's something in the works to do extended training, and basically that looks like. What would that kind of a program look like then? So
it would be offered in 2-week, 4-week, or 6-week increments. Really, the goal is to be able to show the difference that preliminary education makes, because we know, like in children's education, that foundational learning, as you mold through the stages, what that looks like, and you can continue to build. So being able to build upon puppies that have been in our preliminary program, under 10 weeks, what happens beyond that, and being able to also bring in. You're gonna make me cry.
I figured that piece.
This.
So I wrote down the next thing that was going to come up, and I figured this would get, because I know this is a really, this is a subject that's really close to Angie's heart, and I think almost from the very beginning, you talked about this like a couple years ago. Is just therapy and vocational training for folks in our community. I think that's where you were going.
That's where he already knows what I was going to say. He saw the tears. There's an incredible opportunity in our community, and lots of communities, not just ours. Not trying to single that out, but for young women to come alongside. I feel compelled, and I tell people this all the time, that at some point in your life, you're going to be called to share your knowledge. And you need to share your knowledge before you're too old. And a lot of things that I've learned along the way, I have an incredible community. I've done a lot of different careers. So a lot from computer science to all the way through. I have so many people that are much older than I, 20 some years, probably 25, that have shared and sewed into me. And, you know, as a 50-year-old lady, I can say it now. I'm not quite 50, but almost there. I have 25 good years to go, hopefully, or more, but I have a lot to give. Yeah. And I have a lot of girls that don't have strong women in their life that can lead those pathways, and puppies. Mentorship, working alongside puppies, teaching those skills and be able to basically mother alongside of them. It's an incredible position. So those are things I hope it for you, because I think it'd be really cool. So
it's
such a blessing. Yeah, I mean, it's just at the end of whenever my time is finished, I just hope that I have made a difference in some way in someone else. And then I also tell my young girls that work with me, you're going to be called.
Sure.
You're going to be called, and when that calling comes, you've got to pass it on. So hopefully that what I can teach them, whether it's puppies or life lessons or bank accounts or all the stuff that I can teach them how to. And it's not just me. I mean, there's a lot of, it's everybody that's sewed into me, but I feel like I'm a vehicle.
Sure.
And it opens those doorways. And then the best part is that we have families that entrust in us because we are doing something then in turn with our puppies that again is another twofold. Here comes the goosebumps. This happens to me. It comes from the toes, but it changes lives within the homes. I just recently had a puppy that went home. They lost their father 2 weeks ago suddenly. He came into me with tears. He said, Angie, this puppy's going to heal our home. He's going to heal our home. And it was one I got to raise, you know. So I think of that puppy so often because on the day he departed, he had big steps to fill, and he had no idea what those steps were, none. But he has big shoes, and he's going to do it because he's been empowered, because he's been raised without fear. He's been raised with intention. And it's so cool when that little I call them puppy pods, you know, like goes to a baby bean. That's part of the program, but it you know, gets its strength and becomes a little sprout, and all of a sudden it's going to go out and heal the family. It's empowering. So there, I didn't cry, but I almost got there.
And so I think the word, I feel like that kind of covers all of the stuff we've talked about, is culture.
Yes.
So I think our passion, my passion, your passion is we want to impact and build a culture around us about doing things the right way. And you know, there's different kind of cultures in puppies. You know, there's kind of the show end of things, breeders that are, you know, breeding for show. And that's great. And then there's kind of, you know, then there are breeders that aren't, you know, that are just doing kind of what you're doing. And some of the ones that we work with for pets and companions. There's the therapy work and the service dogs, obviously. And so there's this kind of a mixture of all that stuff. And so we're just kind of carving out our own little niche and culture here. And
we
just
tap
have a
into
passion.
all those kind of markets in different ways, but it's just interesting how it all weaves together. And I often think in 10 years from now, the weave, you know, like the
I think we can all pull things from each other.
The web
and
that
work
we
it
create, we can, yep. And you know, you can choose a lot of pathways in life, and choosing pathways that align with people of same values and strengths and empower one another and help build families. And it's a nice place to be.
So right now the Amega program it's kind of our goal. You know, I'm not sure what the future holds, but right now it is kind of, it's not necessarily available for everyone. All breeders, you know, it's kind of limited to the breeders that we work with here locally. But you know, that may change in the future. We're not sure yet how it's going to grow, how it's going to develop. So if you're latching on to what we're saying, that's great. You know, right now, if you can't, you know, call yourself an Amega certified breeder, or if you don't get an Amega certified puppy, whatever, you can kind of, you know, even just take the education that we're providing in these videos. You can take that, you know, and for now and share it. You know, and we just want to spread the word about doing the right thing with puppies and the whole industry, stuff like that. So
share the positive side of things,
exactly.
And how intentionality and like being very attuned to what we're doing. It can change things. I always tell my children, like, be very careful what you do, be careful in your choices, but some of those choices could really change the world.
Yeah, right.
Not that we're going to change the world, but we can make an impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I hope that put a little bit of more light on the Amega program. I think we had done some videos that kind of briefly touched on some of these things. I wanted to get Angie in a little bit more of a laid back atmosphere, kind of bring out a little bit
relaxed,
her true
don't I?
personality a little bit more. When you stick the camera in front of you, sometimes it's I got to put on this.
Yeah.
A little bit of a performance, but no,
I'm not going to button up my tie, but I might.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just want to get Angie a little bit more of a laid back. I think this gives a little bit more truer feel to what we're trying to do. And so, yeah, we just appreciate you guys watching. Please, like, share, subscribe to the channel. Like I said, there's going to be educational videos. We have an Instagram account started that's gaining quite a few followers. A lot of more behind the scenes, short clips of what's going on. More in the behind the scenes, how the program actually works, things you're actually doing, scent introductions, the handling, all that different stuff that you're doing, crate training, or crate introduction. I shouldn't say crate training. That was another conversation.
Part
that
of
might
the
be
process.
A video. So not fully crate trained, but introductions. Again, getting rid of the fear and that type of thing. Right. But yeah, hey, we appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully we'll see you in more of the videos coming. But yeah, thanks for following along. And yeah, check out our other social medias. Our website is Amega Star. You can check it out, Google it. You can find us there. And we'll see once. We don't have a contact yet on our website as far as a phone number to reach out or anything like that. That might be coming in the future. But you can always feel free to leave a comment down below this video or maybe on Instagram, somewhere like that, and we will try to reply and get kind of develop maybe a little bit of a dialogue there. And yeah, but anyway, yeah, we just want to say thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and have a great rest of your day.